to the 2 Feet First Entrepreneur. I'm so happy that you are here today. As an entrepreneur, it's easy to fall into the trap of working all the time. You might find yourself working late into the evenings or on the weekends trying to get one step ahead. We have this long list of tasks, so you're just trying to get everything done. But you don't have to work evenings and weekends to be a successful entrepreneur. In fact, setting boundaries between work and life can actually help you be more productive and creative in your business. So, we all know that time is fixed. I mean, we probably hope that we can adjust it in some way, but let's face it, time is fixed. There's only 24 hours in a day, and no one can add to that. I mean, we can change time zones, but then you take it back when you come back, right? So you cannot change that. It is set. We all get 24 hours and it's all we're given. However, you can use your time more efficiently so that we have more time for the things that we enjoy outside of work. I mean, you probably enjoy your work. I mean, I hope you do. If you're an online entrepreneur, I really hope you enjoy your work, but it shouldn't be your whole life. You should have a life outside of it. So, we're going to talk about some tips for taking back your evenings and your weekends. And some of these might not feel like they're going to help, but trust me, they do. And so, we're going to go through it. I think we have 7. Let me see. Yep, there's 7 of them. So, we're going to start with number 1, which is make sure you're taking breaks during the day. Now, just because you work from home, and I mean, this also affects other people that are not just entrepreneurs now. There's a lot of people, like my husband works from home now. It doesn't mean that you work all day without taking a break. So, I mean, we normally take a lunch break, but that's not the case. You need to get up and move around every few hours to reset yourself. So you can take a walk outside or just step away from your desk for a few minutes to reset. Basically, that's what we're talking about. Taking these breaks will help you get refreshed and refocused for when you're working. Plus, it allows you to come up with new ideas. I don't know if you heard, but when you start feeling like a little tired, right? We all get that way. If you get up and go for a walk, your mind starts thinking of new things or new ways to think of something. So when you come back and sit down, you have all these new ideas and you're rejuvenated in the task. I mean, sometimes it might be a task that you're like, oh, I just really don't want to do it. So you're going for a walk to get away from it. But that walk will help you. I mean, there's scientific stuff proven to that, but we won't go into that of why that's so effective. The number 2 is get enough sleep. When you're running your own business, and sometimes when you're not, it's easy to sacrifice sleep in favor of working. As being a parent too, sometimes we have to sacrifice sleep for our kids. But I just want to encourage you that by not getting enough sleep, sleep is so critical for your health and well-being. So you need to try to get at least 7 to 8 hours of sleep each night. So don't stay up all night trying to get some tasks done just to go back to work the next morning, because it's scientifically proven yet again, and we're not going to get into that, of why sleep is so important for the human body. So make sure that you are getting sleep as well. So those 2 first ones were the ones that I was talking about that you might not see the benefit for them, but once you start doing them, you'll see the benefit from them. Number 3 is setting regular hours for work. Now, just because you're your own boss and you're an online entrepreneur doesn't mean you can work whenever you want. Yes, that is one of the benefits of it, but you still need to set regular hours. I mean, think of a regular job. It's normally like 8 to 5, right? And then after that point, you can go do whatever you want. So that's what you need to do. You need to set regular hours for yourself and stick to them as much as possible. In other words, you need to set boundaries around when you will work. So I'm going to give you some examples with that. So, for example, I know for myself because first and foremost, I am a mom and a wife. And so they take priority over my business. And so for me, especially when school starts, which is started now, I have certain obligations that I have to meet before I can work, or it happens after I work. So I have to be very particular about setting boundaries around hanging out and spending time with my family. And so what I do is I know when my kids go to school and I know when they get home. And so I have set boundaries that during the time that they're at school is when I work. And that's when I focus on things. Yes, sometimes there are times when I do have to work a little bit in the evening, but I also set a boundary around that. Like if I'm working on trying to finish something for a release or a launch or something like that, and it's down to the deadline, then I might have to work a little bit in evenings, but I make sure, or I try really, really hard that it's only happening. I never work during dinner, but it's only happening once my kids go to bed, which my kids don't actually go to bed. They're older now, but 7:30, they know like that's mom and dad's time. And I mean, there we are. We're setting a boundary around just our life in general. Like 7:30 is the time that they have to go downstairs and I tuck them in. It doesn't mean that they're actually in bed when I tuck them in because they'll sit there and read, they'll play with Legos, right? But at 7:30, that's when I can get a little bit of work done, but I make sure that I shut it off at 8:30 because I have given myself that during that time I need to spend time with my husband as well. And so I have set this boundary and I actually try really, really hard not even to do that. Like if I'm doing something during that time, it's not work related. It's actually like the test that I needed to do for our family, right? I need to research this thing, or I'm looking at a trip that we're going on. So I'm doing the research for it. Maybe I'm working on something else for a family member. So I'm trying not to do any work at that time, but I just want you to know that sometimes we have to adapt and do have to work some of those times, but don't make it a habit. I mean, I was talking to my friend about this the other day about, we always say, well, when I reach this, then I'll do that. And that's so not true because I heard it from someone else that once you reach that thing, there's a new thing that you're setting it for. So it's like, for example, this one was once I have more time, like my work isn't so hectic, then I'll start going to the gym. That was what my friend's husband was telling her. And I mean, I just sat there and thought, well, is your work ever going to get less busy? I mean, let's think about it, right? We tell ourselves that all the time. Well, once this is done, then I'll stop working in the evenings or I'll stop working on the weekends. Okay, that thing gets finished, but then another priority comes in. So you need to make sure that you set the boundaries so that way like, no, it can't happen. And then you're more focused during the day to get those things done. So I hope that kind of helps you to create a healthy balance between work and life and start helping you think about different ways you can set boundaries or set regular hours for work within your personal and professional life. Number 4 is get organized and make a plan. There's nothing worse than feeling like you're consistently playing catch up or what should I do next? I mean, we've probably all done that. I mean, I can't tell you how often I've done it in the past. So you need to get organized and make a plan. So what I do is there's different planners that you can use to do this. But the thing that I swear by, I tell people that they need to be doing it because it just makes you feel like every day you know what you're doing and you actually accomplish something. So every day, you need to pick no more than 3 tasks that you're going to complete. And now these tasks are not huge tasks, okay? So let's say for this podcast, right? Like, I have to come up with a podcast. Okay, that is a task I have to do, but inside that task, there are different steps, workflows, different tasks inside that task. And so what you're going to do is break those down to manageable tasks. So I would take one of those things, maybe two, that I'm going to work on for that day. So for example, I'm going to do the keyword research. Well, first I'm going to pick the topic that I'm going to talk about and do the keyword research for the podcast. And so that would be, that's actually two tasks. So I only have one more for the day. And that way you can set these time, like you have a plan in place. So that way you can get stuff done. You'll actually feel accomplished. And so once you're done with those things that you have on your list, and I mean, my list is in this binder right here sitting next to me. I know you can't see it if you're listening through the podcast, but on YouTube, I have showed this on YouTube. And so I did show you my my planner that I use. I have it sitting on my desk with me so that I can quickly see all the time what I should be working on. Because especially once you finish a task, you're like, okay, what's next, right? And something that I do want to know is when you're doing those tasks, there will be things that come up that you think of that you need to do. And that's how we all get sidetracked, right? Get down a rabbit hole of something else. So instead of doing that, have a project management tool or have a full list somewhere that you keep track of all these to-dos. So that way you can just add it to that and move on. So if you only have 10 to 20 minutes left to do before the day ends, that's when you would step in and take those to-dos, like the quick ones, and hurry and knock off some of those. So don't feel like you're never going to accomplish them, because once you've finished all your three tasks for the day, that's when you go back and do those to-dos. So I hope you see the benefit of that. And I do plan on doing a full episode on that so we can go into more details about that. But I hope you kind of get the gist of that. So, number 5, use automation to free up time during your day. Now, this is one of the best ways to take back time in your day. So this would allow you to take back your evenings and your weekends, is to use automation to free up time. Now, there's a number of ways that you can do this, and I do talk about using email templates and filters, which is a really quick way to get through all your emails, which is going to save you a lot of time. And I talk about that in more detail in episode 5, which I talk about the 2 easy ways. I think that's what it's called, the 2 easy ways to automate your email. Plus, in episode 6, so the episode just before this one, we do talk about additional ways that you can use automation inside your business. So I want you to just go over there and check those out, because automation is a game changer in your business. Number 6 is to start delegating. If you're doing everything yourself, it's time to start delegating. I mean, come on, we really don't have time to do everything ourselves, especially in business. I mean, you can start out that way, but as things build and get, your business gets bigger, you can't do everything yourself. So you need to start delegating. And delegating tasks can help you free up time, and then you can focus on the more important aspects of your business. So a great way to delegate is using automation. It's also, I recommend, if you do want to delegate, hire a virtual assistant or use a task manager to see where your tasks are going, right? There's different ways to delegate, like just remove everything out of your brain. But doing a VA is a great way to delegate. And when you do that, I do recommend starting out by the tasks that you don't enjoy the most. So, for example, I am not great at writing and editing, grammar, spelling, all that stuff. It's not my place. Like I am just not good at it. Okay. I'm way better than I used to be because I've had lots of years of practice from running a business, but I know this about myself and I don't enjoy doing it. So, one of the first people that I hired, delegated this task to, was a VA. I had a VA come in for me, and what she does is after I've written stuff, she goes through and makes it sound all wonderful because I can talk, and talking and writing just they don't go together. So just know that about myself. So figure out for yourself, what are the things that you despise doing or don't like doing the most in your business, and delegate those items. And I know that we can't all afford that. And so that brings us into number 7, which is eliminating tasks. So you need to take a list of everything that you do and determine if there's any tasks that you can eliminate. Because if you can't delegate, then you need to get rid of something. So is there a task that is not contributing to your bottom line or isn't helping you move your business forward? I mean, I think of this with some social medias, right? We spend so much time there. And yes, it's important, but I've met so many people that's the only place that they're at. They're only on Instagram, and they're missing out on having another platform, which is like your website. You should have a website to send people to. So, and that's where your main content should be. And your social media should just be an offshoot of that enhances their experience and brings them into it. And a lot of the time, that's not how people see it. And so they spend all this time on social media rather than actually where they should be doing all their work. We're using that just as a tool to enhance. So just kind of think of that too. Like maybe you need to cut back somewhere. Maybe you're going too far, doing too much in one side of things. So just as a side note with that, eliminating tasks doesn't mean like getting rid of it. Maybe it's just cutting back. By doing this, it will help you focus on the most important task, and it will help you free up your time, which we've been talking about a lot. So let's face it, just because we have the flexibility to work on the weekends doesn't mean that we should. It's not healthy for us. You need a break. And if you're an online entrepreneur like myself, it's important to set boundaries between your life and your work. So make sure you are setting those boundaries. If anything today, if you take away anything, I hope that's what you take away, is starting to set boundaries. And boundaries don't just have to be for work. It can be for your life as well, but set boundaries for yourself. Get to know yourself and set those boundaries. Working evenings if you really want to know why you shouldn't be working evenings or weekends, it's because it can lead to burnout. And it decreases your productivity because you're tired. It's what you're always focusing on. You're not going to be excited about something that you have to do all the time. I mean, you need a break. So make sure you're taking those breaks. And like I said, if you do need to adapt things, so do it, but make sure you're taking breaks. And I recommend that you try to use those those steps or those ideas that we've talked about, 7 steps. Oh my gosh. So to recap those, it's number 1 was take a break during the day. Number 2 was get enough sleep. Number 3 was set regular hours for work. Number 4 was getting organized and setting a plan. Number 5 was using automation. Number 6 was delegating. And number 7 was eliminating tasks. So make sure you're using those because it will help you create a better balance between your work life and your real life. And ultimately, it will help you be more successful in business. And if you want to learn more about setting boundaries between work and life, be sure to head over to my website, and you can find the link to this in the description below to grab your free resource that is called The 3 Strategies Successful Entrepreneurs Implement. Believe me, you don't want to miss it, so be sure to grab the link below. And with that, I will see you on the next episode.